Hold on to your hats because today we're diving into Michael Dell, the visionary behind Dell Computers, who just dropped hints of implementing Microstrategy's Bitcoin strategy. Say that 5 times fast. Now, with Dell stock soaring and billions in cash reserves, imagine the impact of this tech titan embracing Bitcoin. Stick around as we break down why Dell's move would make Microstrategy look like chump change. The real question we have to ask here is, dudes, are we getting a Dell-fueled God candle to $1 million?
Party, that ball. Yeah, come and have a good time with G.O.D.
Welcome back to the most bullish Bitcoin news show on the internet. I'm your chief propagandist, Rustin. Now let's get into this jaw-dropping news that could send Bitcoin to Valhalla. Michael Dell, the mastermind behind Dell Technologies, just dropped this bombshell. He tweeted, "Scarcity creates value." Now, where have we heard that before? Well, none other than GigaChad himself, Michael Saylor. Dell even posted a cheeky photo of Cookie Monster munching on some Bitcoin, and he's hinting at something big. I mean, guys, take a look at that. Remember in 2014, Michael Dell accepted Bitcoin. Dell became the largest e-commerce business to accept Bitcoin. Is Dell gearing up for a Bitcoin strategy? Let's connect the dots.
Dude, you're getting a Dell.
Dell stock has absolutely skyrocketed the past year, with Michael Dell cashing out a cool $2.1 billion while still holding on to 58% of the company. That is some serious green, folks. And get this, Dell is sitting on a whopping $5.83 billion in cash reserves. That is a whole lot of melting ice cubes and wealth deteriorating from inflation.
As of April 30th, 2024, Dell Technologies has $5.83 billion in cash and cash equivalents, including investments. With a 3% inflation, that's a loss of $174 million worth of purchasing power just going poof on a yearly basis. Fiat is a melting ice cube. Now, what's really interesting is that they can just put a percentage of that $5.83 billion that they have in cash into Bitcoin, and it will compensate for the $174 million that they're losing in purchasing power. Now, the reason that a company like Dell doesn't care about that is because they have massive revenues and they're able to deal with that. But that's insane. And this is one of the things that Bitcoin fixes. And I think as time progresses, as Michael Saylor proves that his Bitcoin strategy is superior, I think you're going to see more and more dominoes fall.
Now, of course, you know MicroStrategy. They pioneered the corporate Bitcoin treasury strategy, turning heads, sending their stock into the stratosphere. Now imagine Dell, a company that is 24x bigger than MicroStrategy, following suit. Can you say game changer? Game theory is accelerating.
Bitcoin insight is restricted to those with a need to know. If your country is in crisis, if your company is in crisis, if your family is in crisis, when the bank freezes and fails and the currency crashes and you have a business or you have a life and you're in that culture, you have a need to know, your eyes are open. Now you start to take Bitcoin seriously. Now you adopt Bitcoin. Trump has discovered Bitcoin. Trump has a need to know, right? El Salvador, their currency crashed. They had a need to know. I think people in countries like Lebanon, they don't have a reliable banking system. They have a need to know. In places where the society is affluent and the leaders are affluent and they feel comfortable and they don't feel threatened or challenged, if they're comfortable in their political standing, if they're not afraid of being driven out of office, they don't have a need to know. If they're not insecure about their currency, if they're not insecure about their banks, they don't have a need to know. In those cases, they'll be the latest, the last to embrace Bitcoin or to appreciate it because they don't have a need to know. But the world's full of places where you do have a need to know. And it's not just places, but it's peoples, right? The minority out of power who are disenfranchised, who are disinherited. It was the second son to settle in America. The first son inherited the family estate in Europe, and the second son wasn't going to inherit anything. And so if the second son wanted property, a future, hope, they got on a ship, they crossed the ocean at great peril to themselves because there was an entire continent where they might actually get a start and they might have a chance. The second sons had a need to know. And I think Bitcoin is a great equalizer in that regard. The wealthy, affluent, comfortable won't have a need to know. They will be blind to it. And those who are disenfranchised, who are looking for a better future, they are the hopeful ones, but they're also the seekers, the searchers. They're going to look, they're going to find it. They are finding it. Hundreds of millions are finding it. They'll embrace it. They'll benefit from it. The rest of the world over time will discover it when they have a need to know.
As artificial intelligence starts reshaping industries, companies like Dell Well, they're swimming in cash, and if they allocate even a portion of their reserves to Bitcoin, it could shield them from inflation and supercharge their balance sheet. Imagine the ripple effects.
And do you get other companies coming to try and mimic your model, to look at how MicroStrategy is doing it? And
more and more recently, I get approached by public company officers and CEOs that have noticed what we're doing. And, you know, we're starting to see more public companies. I think there's 4 or 5 public companies in the past month that have started to embrace a Bitcoin standard. I think 2024 is like the first year of institutional adoption of Bitcoin. Like 1994 was the year of institutional adoption of the internet. And you wouldn't have done it before this year, but so we're 6 months into year 1. You know, one thing I say to people is the average person is going to work 20 years at least. So you're going to work 40,000 hours to make money. If you're going to invest 40,000 hours of your life to make money, you probably ought to invest 100 hours of your life to keep it.
Did we just take a giant leap forward in that gradually then suddenly? Let us know what you think below. But Bitcoin maximalists, financial gurus alike, they're all buzzing. They're predicting Dell's Bitcoin play could trigger a domino effect across corporate America, like we were just talking about. Now, before we dive further into the Bitcoin domino effect, let's take a minute to recognize our sponsors, the Bitcoin Way, because the richest and most powerful organizations are looking to ape into Bitcoin. You want to get your Bitcoin off exchanges and into self-custody. And if you want to learn to become a master of Bitcoin self-custody, well, the Bitcoin Way, they got you covered. Simply Bitcoin Originals are powered by the Bitcoin Way. They are your IT team in the Bitcoin world. You know, understanding the why of Bitcoin sometimes isn't challenging, especially in clown world, but the how can be. And at the Bitcoin Way, they are here to help bridge that gap, marrying the why to the how. They can help you with all things Bitcoin, from setting up your first wallet and node, all the way up to inheritance planning, accepting Bitcoin payments for your business, and all aspects of Bitcoin security and privacy. They even work with their clients on configuring routers, devices, and networks, and just improving their overall digital hygiene. Also, growing interest in UTXO management, the Bitcoin Way has got you covered. Now let's get back to this. We're talking about unprecedented gains in adoption for Bitcoin. Dell is 24x. MicroStrategy, you might want to hold on to your seats.
Let me ask you this. I'm of the firm opinion that we're watching something that is somewhat unimaginable and that is going to absolutely go down in the history books as probably one of the most obscene, I don't even like to call it a trade, but transitions of a company that is going to be a global dominant player in the future. 10 years from now, everybody's going to know what MicroStrategy is as if it was like Apple stock or whatever.
Absolutely, 100% fundamentally agree with that statement. I truly think that this is the biggest financial move in the history of finance. I mean, this is bigger than Rothschilds figuring out how to front run in the 1600s and turning into a multi-generational wealth. Like, this is fundamentally beyond comprehension, bigger than anything that's ever occurred before.
Dell Computers looks to be gearing up to embrace Bitcoin. They could rewrite the rules of corporate finance. This isn't just about a tech giant buying Bitcoin. It's about validating Bitcoin as the ultimate store of value in the digital age.
There is no second best.
Stars are aligned for Bitcoin to go to $1 million. The yen is close to hyperinflation. Trump is bullish on Bitcoin. Michael Dell is bullish on Bitcoin. Supply and exchanges falling rapidly. Day 63 with only 450 Bitcoin mined a day. Bitcoin spot ETFs already hold 1 million coins.
And I have said before, and I would repeat it again, if it's not going to 0, it's going to 1 million.
You know, guys, all this bullishness just has me asking, because it's inevitable at the end of the day. But after we win and the Fed is metaphorically burned to the ground, what do we do next?
Fuck to it. Spit on that thing.
You're goddamn right.
That woman brought America together for about 37 minutes. Absolutely massive and bullish news doesn't stop there. Crazy news from Saudi Arabia and Argentina. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share the Sound Money Gospel. Give us a pamp! And don't miss the #1 live Bitcoin-only news show on YouTube. Simply Bitcoin Live, coming at you Monday through Friday at 12:15 Eastern Standard Time. But we have a special couple days lined up for you, as Nico and Opti will be streaming live from the Mining Disrupt Conference. Don't miss that. And there might also be a little debate special on Thursday. So stay tuned in, set those notifications, and remember, drunk, fat, stupid, and poor, that ain't no way to go through life. Hey, I'll catch you all tomorrow. Peace.
If you prefer to go down with the ship, fuck you.